And welcome everybody to This Is Difficult, the podcast where we probably talk about something about video games and
Yes.
many things sometimes about video games. I am your co-host, Josh, aka Lord Yeshua. We are on Paul Ryugami-san's channel right below to the right of me. And I have, maybe not, and Colin 4Gs on the other side of my body.
Me.
And
I'm
that's
Colin
that
4Gs.
guy. Yeah. Did I say all the names correctly?
I think you did.
Oh,
I remembered my friends' names. And
okay.
here we like to talk about video game and video game related things. And we
Paul
have
says
quite a
that.
fat one for you. He does. We have a fat one for you today. The Video Game Awards. That was the thing. So we're going to touch on that, right? Or some bullshit. And we played some games this week. We played some games this week. So what do we do this guy? What do we do? Who someone go first?
What we do?
Paul seems like he's got
I played
something
some
on his
games.
tongue.
I played let's see. I played a little more of that Castlevania clone that I can never Bloodstained.
Ooh.
Shorts.
Oh yeah. I remember that joke.
I don't know why I can never think of the name. I can think of the Curse of the Moon ones. It's not that one. It's the new one. Whatever. Anyway, but that I played a little more of that. That game's fun. I haven't really gotten to like really get in depth. Ritual of the Night. Thank you. I have not gotten to like really dig into it yet though. I also started Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, which is really fun. Really enjoying
Is
that.
it better or worse than you thought? Like expectations versus reality.
It's better than I thought.
Okay.
Like I legitimately thought it was gonna. Well, I didn't legitimately think it was gonna be just another Warriors game. Because I liked the original. I liked the original Hyrule Warriors, but I thought it wasn't gonna be any better than the original Hyrule Warriors. And I think that as a standalone game, if you don't count like the extra modes that the original Hyrule Warriors had, it is far superior as far as like story and everything. So so I really am impressed with that and how like true they kept, even though I don't really like Breath of the Wild in like concept, like how the game plays, I still think it's a really well made game and it's a really gorgeous game. And I think that that Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity does a really good job of capturing that feel, you know. So that's really cool. But I've yet to like really also get like beyond surface level of the game on that as well. So I couldn't really go super in depth. But Josh will be able to later on tonight. So
it's my thing today.
And then I also played some more Neo this week, and I made a ton of progress. Dude, I am loving that game. I forgot how much I loved that game because, like, I had been playing it leading up to Sekiro, and when that game came out, I just dropped it, and started playing Sekiro. But it's much better than Sekiro, if you ask me.
Those fighting words.
It probably is fighting words for a lot of people, but I just think it's a much more enjoyable game for like, even though I wouldn't say it's a game for casual players, it's definitely way more casual than Sekiro is, and because I think Sekiro is literally just designed for like elite players of like Souls-like games for real. Like I think that's what it's designed for.
It's designed for brutalizing yourself.
It really is. And once you get past a certain point, like it's unplayable for most people, including myself, even though I really enjoyed the game. So and Neo doesn't really suffer from that, which I like. So,
that's awesome.
So yeah. Anyway, those are the games that I played this week. How about you guys?
What do we do?
What did I play this week?
We thought really hard about playing a bunch of games together.
We did. It's so sad.
It's time. What is time? Past, present, future.
Being a grown up.
Yeah.
What did I play? Let me look at my list of recently played games. I didn't really play much this week, actually. I played a little bit more of Don't Starve Together, but I've really been like kind of working on other projects, actually. Like I've been working on this project to make it so I can do telepresence, basically using like a VR headset hooked to some some cameras that are stereoscopic cameras, basically. So like you can look around in VR, and then in live it moves around the cameras in the same way,
that's absolutely
like over the internet. So like you could basically be anywhere at any time, you know, if the camera is set up there, basically. So
That is cool.
Wow, that's
yeah,
fucking
I was
nuts,
gonna give
dude.
one to you, Josh, for Christmas, and then you and
What?
I can like hang out together in
Yes.
VR, but like play video games together side by side on the
Give me one for
couch.
Christmas.
Isn't that
Yes,
cool?
for
That would be
Hanukkah.
cool. That would
Oh,
be
that
cool.
sounds so incredible.
I don't know if it's gonna get to work though. I'll try.
What?
The
Okay, by
other thing I
Christmas.
looked at, this is really cool too, is the thing called a RetroPie, which is Raspberry Pi playing
That's what we
retro
talked
games.
about, yeah.
Yeah, those are
And
cool.
Need
those
that.
are really cool. Those are actually really neat. They can do a lot of emulation. Basically retro art. You can basically do retro art.
They can do up to like Dreamcast.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wow, that's intense.
Well, it depends
cool.
on what Pi you're using too. Like there's
Yes.
different Raspberry Pi models.
So the
and
4 came out a while ago, and it's pretty incredible. Like it's a real computer at this point. Like the other ones were kind of toy computers, and not that they're bad. They were good for like Linux servers, but not much more. But the new ones are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And anyway, yeah, you can run this thing called RetroPie, but then there's this other software you can use that'll let it stream to your whatever. You actually make it stream to whatever you want, and the latency is so low. It's like basically using what's it called, parsec, on your phone or anywhere you want to be, basically, you know, or on a computer. You know, you can access your Raspberry Pi, your RetroPie through your phone with the controller, and then just play them wherever you want to. And then if you're done, you can turn it off and then sit down at your TV and then just play it natively on your TV as well. So
wow,
yeah, like that's pretty cool. I'm looking into that kind of stuff too. Maybe making
you can get pre-made ones, but if you're a tinkerer, if you like, you know, like messing with that kind of stuff, you can. Yeah, exactly. Like they're perfect for Colin to like just get the bare bones stuff and slap one together and load on what you want to do. They're really cool. You can I've seen people make entire like arcade cabinets with them.
Oh wow.
There's 8-Bit Dough makes a really good arcade stick for fairly inexpensive. And so you could like create a Raspberry Pi and use that arcade stick and have like a legit like arcade cabinet.
Oh, I've seen those. Yeah. That's actually really neat because you like have like a whole like full size one. You could build it out if you wanted to. You know? So
absolutely.
The other thing I got too is a 3D printer. So
so cool.
I've been messing with that. In fact, last night I actually printed off some stuff I created in Blender. I actually measured it out, and I was like, I want 4 inches by 2.5 inches. And I want this, you know, hole for screwing stuff into about 3 millimeters in diameter, which is pretty small. And I printed it out, and it was exact. It's 4 inches by 2.5 inches, and it's like, that's incredible that you can like create something in a virtual environment and then print it out. And it took me like maybe 20 minutes to print out. You know, like it was nothing. So it's something small, obviously, but still, it's just like, that's incredible. In 20 minutes, I can have something in real life. You know, I can bring things from my mind into the real world. So
it's madness. You're gonna make so many weird things.
Not a lot of video game related stuff, but
show us something.
No, I'm just saying like I haven't. I made Cuphead actually.
Yes, show me.
I gave it to someone already.
What? You gave that to not me?
Oh, this is awkward.
Dude, Faye was trying to talk me into playing Cuphead the other day on stream.
Oh, you should.
You should. That game.
I don't like that game.
Oh, I thought you liked it.
Says the weak man.
It's not really. It's fine. It's a game that I would play like if someone thrust it in front of me, and I have played it on stream before.
That's right, you have, but you didn't. I thought you liked it.
It was fine.
What's too hard for you, said?
No, it's not too hard. It's just I don't necessarily feel like I want to be like sweating it that hard necessarily all the time.
So good to sweat it. It makes you such a good gamer.
Yeah, if it's fine, it's fine. But you know, it's a fine game. I don't like hate it by any means. It's just not something that, you know, it might be something that I want to take on as a personal challenge in my own life. It's not something that I would really want to stream personally.
That's fair.
But that's just me, you know.
It's really intense.
She was really trying hard though. She's like, you have to stream Cuphead. And I'm like,
well, she's streaming right now. She's doing expert mode right now.
Yeah, I've been there, done that.
She's more awesome than me. So
Did you stream expert and regular mode back to back in 2.5 hours or less or whatever my record is?
Dude, I think Cuphead might be the first stream that I did that Josh actually came and hung out in.
I'm great. I just loved Cuphead for so long. Ever since Colin forced me to play
that thing was delayed indefinitely, the DLC.
Indefinitely, dude.
Definitely, yeah.
That is a bummer. Indefinitely is not good.
Once
Are
we
they
get
still
the
making the
DLC,
show? Aren't they doing
I
like
don't
a?
know. Maybe.
kind of grinds my gears.
Yeah.
All I know is once they do finally come out with the DLC, which never is happening apparently, it's going to get a physical copy on the Switch, which is what I've been waiting for. Is an actual physical copy of this game with all the DLC and everything.
Yeah, we'll see.
You gotta like Cuphead.
Indefinite, man. That's
That's
long
pretty
time.
indefinite. I feel like that could be like a minute, 2 minutes.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it took them like 8 years to make the game originally, so I can see it taking a really long time to do an entire section of the game again. Like, I don't know.
I have no idea. Yeah, maybe. I don't know what's taking so long, but I'm sure it's a good reason since the game was, really good to begin with. So
good, in fact.
You know what's most incredible about that game, like, is the art. Like that's I think the biggest feat that game pulls off. Like as a bullet hell shooter kind of game, it's fine. It's not bad at all. Like don't like I don't want you guys to think I'm knocking it. I'm not trying to knock it, but to me it doesn't knock my socks off, right? Like to me the compelling argument to play that game is to enjoy the like beautiful hand drawn nature of that game.
I just like how the art does mesh with the gameplay though. Like you actually get to play in these scenes which are so stunning. I agree though that the art and to an extent even the music is like just so it all really melds together on a perfect level. But yeah, because of that art, it does make a cohesive, unique experience. It's just like so different than anything you've ever played before.
For sure.
There was supposed to be that game. What the fuck? There was basically like a copycat game coming out. Enchanted whatever.
Everyone was like,
yeah, and everyone turned their head and they were like, "What the fuck?" It was basically like a rubber hose animation, fucking bullet hell boss game, and so people were in an uproar. I was actually excited for this game because why wouldn't we want more games in this genre? Maybe it's too exact of a genre.
It's clearly it's a direct copy. I mean,
is it copy because it's like someone coming out with like another Zelda game and just calling it like The Adventure of Mitch, and it's like kind of like Zelda in every way, but like it's still not Zelda, so we can just like, play it.
Well, the thing is, it's one thing if you make a game in that style. Like, there's plenty of games that are kind of in that style, right?
Yeah.
But like doing a game that like is mimicking the art of Cuphead is like taking it a little, like that makes it obvious, right? Like, it's not like Cuphead owns that genre of gameplay.
Yeah.
But they definitely own that art style, like, as far as within the world of video games is concerned, I would say probably Mickey Mouse owns it, before that.
It's like doing a platformer with like a plumber from Italy,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Brooklyn, whatever. Yeah. I actually Facebooked the creators of this game about a year ago and wanted to like see if there's any way I can get on the ground level to this game because I know Joke wanted to play it and I was like, I want to like play it if you guys need anyone to test it out or anything like that.
No way, really? I didn't know you did this.
I did this like not even a year ago, like probably 8 months ago. Yeah, did I tell you this? I thought I told you this.
No,
so I talked to them on
definitely did not.
Oh, it's pretty. I'm forgetting the name of the game though. I just like did it because I was like, when is the game coming out? I'd love to debug it or test it for you or anything like that. And they were like, oh yeah, honestly, we've had a lot of pushback and it's probably gonna be a massive extension to when it's gonna come out. And they're like, look for it on Kickstarter when we like drop it for the official. But like that
Enchanted Portals was the name of the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was so long ago that I'm now convinced they are probably pulling the plug on it. I would kickstart this game if it was on the map.
The most recent stuff that I see on it is from 2019.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah, because that's when they were like, there was an immediate release decision and then a trailer that led to massive backlash by the fans of Cuphead. And I literally was like, I just want more of this gameplay. But of course, like it would be better if it was just more Cuphead. Like, why the fuck don't they just give us, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But it takes so much time. Like for them to be like Enchanted Portals is basically a copycat game coming out in like 2 years. It's almost an insult to how much integrity and work was put into Cuphead, an 8-year developed game. Like they're just shitting one out. Like, yeah, I do kind of see how it is kind of an insult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting. Very interesting. Did you play any other games this week, Josh?
I played Hyrule Warriors, and I don't even know if I played anything else. I played some Magic again. That was fun.
The Gathering?
In real life. Yeah. Me and my friends have been playing it on Zoom. We played earlier today. I kicked butt.
So what did you play?
Don't they have timeout? So you're playing it on Zoom, but isn't there like an online game version of it? Like,
yeah, but I can't use my cards.
oh, you
Come
can't.
on. Well, maybe you can with
You
some.
know, that's the dope thing about. Well, I guess it doesn't use exactly your cards either. I was gonna say the Pokemon card game that's on the computer. I forget what it's called. I think it's just called Pokemon like trading card game. But you can every time you buy an expansion pack or any kind of like Pokemon cards, you can scan your code into the game and it gives you expansion packs in the game.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty rad.
That'd be a great thing for Magic to do because, like, as it stands, it's a free to play game for the online one, MTG Arena, and it's like I see people stream that and stuff, and I'm like, it's just a grind. Like, I don't know. The whole point of Magic is it's like kind of a fun tabletop game to play with your friends, like kind of D&D and stuff, and or just like a regular board game. And it's like, I don't know, turning it into something hyper competitive kind of loses it for me. So I don't know.
Yeah, but they do that with everything.
Like,
they do literally,
and it is like a hyper competitive game as well. So it's kind of hard to say like don't do that.
Dude,
but,
I remember when I was a kid, I got like the Magic expand or like the just starter pack, and I had to hide it from my mom because my parents were very anti that, because they're
like
religious and stuff. Yeah.
Like the church was in uproar against. Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah.
Right, Pokemon.
Yeah, but also Magic depicted demons and stuff, and the church was literally like, "Don't do that." Magic actually didn't use the word demon on their cards for like 2 years, and then they were like, "Fuck that, we're just gonna do it anyway."
But yeah, I had I got the expansion, or not the expansion, the starter pack, and like I went to play it with my friends, and I was playing with the rules that are explained in the starter pack, and they're like, "That's not how you play this fucking game." Dude. I was like, "What?" It says right here, and they're like, "Nah, that's not how it's different. Like that's baby Magic. This is how we actually play this game." I was just like, "Oh Lord, okay." There was a
real
Christian alternative to Magic called Redemption that my parents got me.
Caleb, you remember
it was actually a lot of fun, to be honest.
He used to play that in competitions.
Oh yeah, you know what? I knew that. I think you had told me that before.
It's Christian Magic.
I got caught for cheating actually in a competition one time with that game.
God.
You cheated?
You cheated at a Christian card game?
An accident. I swear. Like,
How dare you?
Own up to this point. I just own up. At this point, I'd be like, I just totally cheated. But like, literally did not mean to. I was in competition one time, but that morning though, I had bought a booster pack, and then it had gotten shuffled into my deck, and I didn't count the amount of lost souls, because lost souls are the way you basically score points. You got to basically like put up a lost soul, and then somebody has to go for it with a demon, and you have to defend it with an angel, basically, or like a good guy character. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And anyway, so every like 10 cards, you need a lost soul. And so I had forgotten to count it out, basically, and I had like way too few lost souls compared to how many cards I had in my deck. And so this guy was like playing against me. He's like, "Do you not have any lost souls?" I was like, "I thought I did." I was like, you can check." And so he goes, "Hang on," like throws his whole everything, and like made a whole deal out of it. I don't remember like being embarrassed. I remember just being like, "Oh, I messed up," like, "Oh well." The guy was like, "Unfortunately, Colin, I do have to disqualify you. This is considered cheating. Like whether it was on purpose or not, like doesn't really matter at this point."
That's
like,
fucked up.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
How old are you?
That's so funny.
I don't remember. Young.
Yeah, that game was actually kind of fun though, despite being like legit like a knockoff of Magic, but it was still pretty fun.
Does Magic have all souls?
I don't remember what Magic has. Yeah, I'm sure it's very different.
D&D on paper, yeah.
Cool. You ready to jump into that review, Josh?
Let's dive down its throat, motherfucker.
You ready? Okay, let me switch the scene. This is a brand new scene, so if this doesn't work, fuck. But we're gonna try it anyway. All right, we can. I mean, the backup plan would just be to go to the regular transition that we normally do, but we're gonna test this one out. So I'm gonna switch scenes real quick, and then you can take off.
Oh, look at all the friends.
There we go.
And it's this game.
Oh
totally
shit!
not.
I didn't start it. There we go.
Are you using? Oh, you're using the cool.
Oh wow, you're
so small.
Yeah, we're tiny. You're the fucking head honcho here. So let's
your gameplay.
Look at him.
Who's gameplay?
Whose gameplay? This is internet's gameplay.
Good job, internet.
I will tell you whose gameplay it is in a little bit after your review.
It's
It's none
yours.
of our gameplay.
Oh, okay, good. Hi. Wait, what is this? This is the wrong review. Review outline. That's me. I'm just gonna pretend it's not Goof Troop.
Oh my lord.
He's like the entire time. He's like, "Go trip it."
Goof Troop was oh shit. I was reviewing the wrong game. Welcome everybody to my review of a game. So I'm going to be reviewing Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. I just want to. I see you editing it right now. I just want to say I did not beat the game yet, and it's okay because I did get a nice chunk out of it, and I feel like I can now adequately grade the game, barring the finale of the story. So, like, basically, if you spoil it, I'm going to kill you. But I can pretty much review it adequately up until the story ending. So here we go, guys. Let's see. When was this game? You got to type faster. I can't read. I'm just kidding. Where is it available for? Okay, so this is only on the Switch. This is going to be a Switch exclusive. If you like Zelda at all, you know that you can only play Zelda on Nintendo consoles. Pretty much a reason to own them. So I totally think that you're going to need one of those. And then where is it available? How much? It came out on what? November. Came out last month, November 20th, I think. And it's $60 retail, so nothing crazy. Let's see. Played on Switch, $60 cartridge. What do I like about the game? It's a good game. No, I feel like this is kind of broad. Has it always been worded like this?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I've totally done reviews on this channel before. I'm just kidding. Okay. What do I like about the game? Okay. So like Paul was saying, we were kind of expecting this to be at least as good as the last Hyrule Warriors, right? So honestly, I did think this is the best Dynasty Warriors game ever. Just because it really sinks itself into the world so well. And I mean, there hasn't really been a great Dynasty Warriors game, in my opinion, great graphics, great story and all that in a while. So like this one kind of fills the niche for me. It doesn't feel like a mashed together game like the last Hyrule Warriors did. So if you were just worried about getting a mashup and you're like, oh, cool, all the references ever made, like here's a bunch of references and Link's just like a soldier. That's like fine. That's what the last one was, though. This one is very much story driven, and it even uses so many aspects from Breath of the Wild 1 that it's just like uncanny. Like the map, the way it does like mission systems, like all the markers on the map, like it just really reminds you that it is still a Zelda game in a lot of really cool ways. So I did like that a lot. Like even cooking and like, the armor fuse. This is something cool. So you can actually fuse weapons together. And I'm thinking this is going to be kind of a hint at what we can get in Breath of the Wild 2. I don't see why they would tease us with something like a blacksmith in this game when obviously it's a fighting game. But if there wasn't going to be some kind of way to enhance your weapons in the second one, I don't know. I would love to see even some of these features leak into the next game. Paul mentioned also that it's like just like a hyper version of Breath of the Wild. So like basically if you liked Breath of the Wild but found it to be too slow and the combat to be pretty mundane, which I think it doesn't even come close to like Ocarina of Time, let alone Wind Waker in combat. Like Wind Waker reigns supreme for me and like how amazing and efficient combat is. But this really kind of just adds all the speed necessary to like from the other Zelda games and makes it like a super hyper combat Zelda game. It really does feel like you're playing a true Zelda game at all times. Let's see. What didn't I like about this game? Real quick, it's pretty mission based. So if you're not like a fan of going boop, 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 and so me as a completionist, I am like boop, 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 do all the missions for each character, switch characters when I can, try and level everyone up, get everything. It can be kind of like a lot, so that kind of stuff can add up to just like a longer gaming experience. Like we were saying, I don't know if we even recorded when we said this, but it's 20 hours for the regular game, 30 if you want to like beat everything, and then like 100% is 60. So like I'm the type of guy that like would basically triple my gameplay time just to collect all the side quests. So like to me that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. But I mean endless, gameplay if you're into that. So I would say it's a slight knock against it though, that it's not just seamless story and some of it is side questy, but again, something we did expect. And it's a cool way to also level up your characters. So it's kind of a catch-22. Gameplay is so smooth. Again, it feels like Hyper Zelda. You can interact with like obstacles and stuff, and even jump off walls and do all this amazing like comboing. And really, it feels like at first an arbitrary beat 'em up, and then as soon as you learn your characters, like it's really in depth. And the combat is just super varied. And even Link has like 5 different weapon styles. So you can use like a spear, a 2-handed weapon, like boomerang, even all the shit. To kind of mix up the combat. So if you want to play the same character, you can kind of mix it up. The other guys just feel like they're constantly, if you do enough side quests, constantly updating their combos and whatnot. So it really doesn't feel stale. And you're able to literally switch characters on the fly. And some missions are one character and some are like 3 or 4 or 5 characters. And you're just like switching in between all of them. And it's fucking fast. And you can tell the ones you're not playing as on the fly what to do, so that when you're ready to switch, it's like right there at the marker. I don't know. There's a lot of
That's a
huge
feature I
positives.
really like,
I
is
really
being
like
able to
that a
give
lot.
commands. Like I don't know if recent Dynasty Warriors games do that, but I like none of the ones that I've ever played do.
Oh, me
And that's,
either.
I think that's like one element that's missing, cuz like the whole point of this is like the combat's kind of like, you know, I wouldn't say generic, but like it's not like super in depth. What like Dynasty Warriors games have always focused on is the strategy. But
Yes.
like with only being able to control one character at a time, you don't really get to experience like the full like actual strategy of a real battle. Whereas with this, being able to actually command different troops and you know, like source people in different areas of the map allows you to actually do that. And I think it makes it like gives it a whole nother like level of strategy, which is really good.
Yeah, I totally agree that and some missions are like so easy that you're just like playing as the one character, and then someone's like, help me, this captain's going down over here. And you're like, oh shit, like I totally forgot I can like delegate all these characters to different areas just to support, like you're saying, this big overmap strategy. And it is really, really cool. And then again, once that character is doing that thing, and they can like defend entire whatevers. I don't know if they can beat bosses to my knowledge yet or anything like that, because I usually like switch pretty fast. But like they can pretty much hold like a base for you, I'm under the impression, and like defend it. And then they're right there when you need to switch on the fly, which is instantaneous. Like the character swap is probably the strongest thing next to the gameplay, I guess. But I don't know. There's so many aspects do maintain that Zelda feel, and it just is. It doesn't really feel stale very often. You kind of play with someone until you want to switch, and then you just switch into someone, and you're constantly upgrading their combos and move sets and everything, and experimenting with different ways to play with them. So it's like pretty fresh all the time. Again, haven't beaten it, but I've been playing it for a while, and it feels pretty fresh. And let's see, how is the art? The art is beautiful. I don't think it's as good as Breath of the Wild for some reason. I think like something about the slow textured world, like of just walking carefully through Breath of the Wild, maybe makes it feel like it looks more beautiful. But I do think it's basically as beautiful as Breath of the Wild, with the minus that you cannot climb on anything. But if you don't care about climbing, it's basically Breath of the Wild. Like you can do everything, it pretty much, let's see. The art was amazing. Yes. So I would give that a high marks. If you liked Breath of the Wild or pretty much any Zelda style of art, you'll appreciate this game. So it's really going to hit those marks for you. The music is good, but I will say it is not as strong as a regular Zelda game where all of the scores are just blowing you away. The music is really catchy, and I find myself humming it sometimes. Some of the fights have really awesome music and all that kind of stuff. But also I find myself not being as into it because it is like all fast combat based music kind of, instead of like that beautiful slow like Zelda ambiance music that we're kind of used to. That being said, it really does fit the game correctly. I think along with the art, like the map is like really amazing, and there's other aspects of the game that kind of just aesthetically are added to it to make it seem like this literally could just be like a row of missions like it was in the first Hyrule Warriors, but it's actually using the whole map and like using story pieces on that map to kind of like link you into that. And I think that's huge. Like it thematically and aesthetically brings it all together. Let's see, music, yes, okay. And then the sound design is flawless. Like this is amazing sound in this game. I would say the sound is better than the music actually, in that it just like has all the characters perfectly sounding and feeling like they should, and all of the combat just feels and sounds like it should. Sometimes it feels like there is so much sound going on though, it's just like a little overstimulating, but it still like all sounds like it should, if that makes sense. like when like Urbosa's like lightning everywhere and all that shit. Like it does feel like it's not just arbitrary sounds, but there's still a lot. So people that are like overwhelmed by this kind of shit, this is going to be a high intensity game for you. That's the other thing with the gameplay. It is very high velocity. So if you're just a chill, like walk through a park gamer, this is going to be a lot of energy to exert. This is almost like the Doom of Zelda games. Let's see. And then how long does it take? So again, I didn't beat it. I think I'm at like 15 hours. Maybe, I don't know, around that range. But seems like you could probably beat this pretty fast if you don't do a lot of the side quests. Seems like the side quests do help a lot, though. So I'm going to say take your time with it and really enjoy it. This doesn't seem like the kind of game you want to rush, because it could probably make you bored with it if you rush this too fast. Not bored with it, but you know what I mean. It's too much mundanity and the same thing over and over again. I would rather take my time with it. The game is not the most difficult. But that being said, there are 2 difficulty settings I actually wanted to point on. And I noticed that there are actually 2 difficulty settings, not just one. So I learned this the hard way. There is a main menu difficulty that you can set from like easy to very hard. And then each mission has its own difficulty as well. So if you start the game on very hard and then choose easy, you're on very hard, but it's an easier hard mission. It's kind of weird. It's like a double grading scale. So if you do very hard on the overall game rating, and then on the overall game difficulty menu, and then choose every mission be very hard, it's like fucking brutal. You're getting like half of your health taken out per hit, like extremely difficult. And I figured out, like, I thought I was really bad with one of the new characters. And then I realized I forgot to knock down the difficulty in the main menu, because normally I'm like normal, and then each mission I'll do very hard. And that's like a walk in the park. That's like they're only doing like one heart to you. But when you're on very hard, I would say the challenge is huge, but almost like a brutally like Dark Souls hard, like pointlessly large amounts of life getting taken out of you. So I thought that was pretty interesting, though. You can like really fine tune the difficulty on this, which is pretty awesome. And it just seems like needlessly difficult, though, on the high scale. And then otherwise, it is pretty fun challenge, but not hard. I actually don't know if I would play a sequel. I know that's like, I love this game a lot, but like, it seems like one of those games that I would have to let sit for a while before I played a sequel. Like with Hyrule Warriors 1, if you had asked me this question right after I beat that and like within that year, I would say no, I would not play a sequel. And so it took me like 4 years to get to the point where I could even play this type of game again. And because it is so different and varied, it kind of works. But I do feel like it is a lot of the same to be playing back-to-back games of. So yes, I would play a sequel. No, I would not play it that sequentially, that fast after. Let's see. Overall rating and impression. Game is phenomenal. I think that I'm just going to skip to saying I think this game is worth buying if you are a Zelda fan, or B, a Dynasty Warriors fan, or C, a just fast combat fan, or just like, I don't even know, like a fan of like a lot of awesome action. Like it just feels like it's really well done. And a lot of the fighting is like really like choreography wise well done, to the point where it just feels awesome. Even if you're not a Zelda fan, I think you would probably like this game a lot. Overall rating and impression, I do kind of like fluctuate. This is maybe going to be one of my lowest ratings, just because I'm starting to get more critical about like all the aspects of a game. So I would say, without thinking about the first one or anything like that, definitely a buy, but I'd probably give it an 8 or an 8.2. I probably would give it an 8.2 overall, I would say, just based on the fact that it is really amazing and it's aesthetically good and it plays really well, but it is still what you would expect. It is not breaking the mold with Dynasty Warriors games. Like Paul said, it's like pretty much generic-ish combat, but it is definitely, I think, worth playing. And like, to me, it's the best Dynasty Warriors game I played, I think. But that being said, you are getting a Dynasty Warriors game. You're not getting like, you know, a Zelda game completely. So with that being said, yeah, 8.2, I think is pretty fair for me. Yeah. Yeah. What else? Anyone want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with most of those things just from what I've played so far in the game. I think the boss battles are far and beyond better than
I can't believe I didn't say anything about the boss battles.
They're so good. They're so much better than any other Dynasty Warriors game that I can recall playing. And like they do a really good. Actually, I think this game does a better job of conveying story, like phenomenally better job of conveying story than Breath of the Wild does.
Oh yes, I agree.
So I think those two things are things that it really has going for it. And then I also like how, even though I'm not really a fan of like the Sheikah Slate thing in Breath of the Wild, I think the way they integrated it into this game is spot on. Like it's
Yeah,
perfect. And each character has their own variation of how those
yeah.
abilities work too,
Yeah,
which
it almost
is
seems like intrinsic into like it's like a weapon they know how to use, like as
yeah.
opposed to like something Link's discovering. It's like, hey, this is like an artifact they know, and that's what's cool about seeing this all in the past.
Mhm.
Is like all the characters are like truly themselves, and like we're seeing that Breath of the Wild is 100 years later, and they really are like old versions of these characters that don't know as much. And it's like we're seeing them all in their prime, like they literally know how to wield the Sheikah Slate. It's like
Mhm.
fucking
Yeah,
badass.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
I
and
mean
yeah,
that's
the variety
about
is
all I have. I think 8.2 is really fair.
yeah.
Again, I've only played actually if you're watching the gameplay that's going on right now, the mission they just finished, that's as far as I've played into the game and like
Uh,
maybe a couple other little side things. So,
yeah.
like I couldn't give my full impression, but yeah, it's I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you're right, like Dynasty Warriors games in general, like for me, they're fun games to just have as like a backup if I just want to go kill 10,000 things. Um, but it's not like I'm like if I finish one, I'm not like I need to play the next one.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
It
like
kinda puts a damper on wanting to, like, play them in succession.
mhm,
You get so much out of one, and you're like, "Okay, well, like, are they any different?" It's like kinda like Smash Bros. Like, if
mhm,
another Smash Bros. Came out, like, every year, you'd be like, "Ah," it kinda ruins the effect.
yeah.
Touching on the story thing, though, real quick, I think that they absolutely I didn't even think about that. They absolutely nailed how to tell a story in Zelda again, and I was like, why did it take a side spin-off game to like remind them how to do this? So
Yeah.
you're really incrementally doing the quest, and it is feeding you story like in a chronological order. It's not arbitrary. Like Breath of the Wild had arbitrary story pieces that you had to like recover your memories and shit. And this was more like if you complete a mission, you get some story, and like it's like guiding you.
Yeah,
We
the
need
story
that
in
more
Breath
of
of the
that.
Wild, if you wanted the full story in Breath of the Wild, you had to really hunt that shit down. Some of that
Yeah,
stuff is hard to find. Like finding all those memories is a pain in the ass.
wandering
Like,
around a field for like an hour or
dude,
so.
it is
Like,
not an easy task. And so like to get the full story out of that, like you could go throughout the entire game of Breath of the Wild and get like little to no story,
oh, I
you know?
did. Yeah.
Right.
My first
Right.
playthrough,
Yeah.
I did two. So I did the Gerudo place third. So I did water, air, and then Gerudo. And when I got to
Hmm.
Gerudo, I noticed one of the memories there, and I was like, "There's memories everywhere." And I, like literally was my first memory on the third dungeon.
Yeah.
I was like, "Are you fucking kidding?" I one time looked up a memory and like looked up the map of where it was on Google and could not find it, and I was still like running around and like I
Same.
had the map for it.
Yeah,
Like, what
I've
the fuck?
finally recently when I went back to play it because I went back to actually finish the game because I basically got to the end of the game and stopped playing because I knew there was DLC coming out and I wanted to wait for the DLC. But then I got distracted and never finished it, right?
Sadly, the DLC doesn't add anything really.
Right. And so I went back and was going to finish it and this is when I realized I don't actually like the game. But I one of the things I did do was find all the memories, because I had gotten, like, 2 or 3 of them in my original playthrough, and tried to find 1 or 2 more, but just fucking couldn't, and I actually used a walkthrough to find them, and even with the walkthrough, it was still very difficult
Yeah,
to find a couple of the memories, like, I can only imagine, like, going into that game blind and wanting to get everything and just like spending hours and hours and hours just
yeah.
looking for those stupid things.
Stupid. There was the biggest complaint about Wind Waker, which is arguably one of the best Zelda games, was in the original, like they scatter all the Triforce pieces into random locations. Basically, you have to find maps and get them all. And it's like one of the longest parts of the game was collecting and piecing together the Triforce. And like it was known that that was an annoying part of the game. And then Breath, just to have it be brought back in an even worse way, we're like
Mhm.
exploring every fucking inch of a field. It's like I thought they would have kind of learned their lesson on making you do something like that, but then they also don't make it like needed. So it's like if you're not gonna even make me play the story, that's like, come on. I don't even have to play the story. That's fucked
Right.
up.
Yeah.
Like that to me, like is losing a large portion of what makes Zelda Zelda. And it's like two has got to step it up hard. They know this. It has to be a very good sequential storyline. There's some extra shit cool, but like we want to know what's happening at all times, especially when Ganondorf is involved. Like, come on.
Right. For sure. I agree.
Potential is there.
Right on. Any closing statements about it real quick, or should we move on? We
Let's
good?
move on. Let's play
Excellent.
it.
Boom. Hey, we're back. Dude, I like that. I've got one. I'm setting up one of those game review scenes for all of us. So the game reviews are going to look a little better going forward, I think.
Nice.
Cool. All right. So our topic this week is actually the Game Awards, which are this week, the upcoming Game Awards. Game of the Year, all that business. Those are on Thursday night. And they announced the nominees and opened the voting a couple of weeks ago. I think voting closed yesterday. So I did. But let's talk about that. We're gonna talk about essentially like what, my main focus is Game of the Year. There are other categories, and we can talk about those other categories if we want. But the thing that I'm most interested in is Game of the Year. So we're also, just as a side note, we're gonna do our own Game Awards kind of thing
We are
after the Game Awards.
Yay.
So we'll be doing that, like what our own like selections for Game of the Year, and that's gonna include games that didn't necessarily come out this year. It's gonna be like our nominees or like our choices for the best games we played this year, personally. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, let's jump into it. So Game of the Year, here's the nominees: Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades.
Who the fuck played that?
A lot of people. Apparently that game's amazing. I actually want to play that game. I haven't had a chance yet. Animal Crossing New Horizon and Last of Us 2. Those are what do we think? I think the top 3 nominees right now are Ghost, Hades, and Last of Us. I honestly think that there's gonna be some fucking shenanigans and Last of Us is gonna win. But currently Ghost is in the lead, according to a tweet from that's Jeff Keighley that I saw yesterday. But it's only by like a small percentage point. I feel like there's gonna be some shenanigans and Last of Us Part 2 is gonna win. Even though it's fan voting. That's just my suspicion. We'll see this week. We'll see what happens. But that's kind of what I think. I don't know.
If I had to say, without any shenanigans, it feels like pretty obvious that Ghost should win this. Just based on like all the, I don't know, just build up and how well it was received and like just how it like actually executed what it set out to do. That being said, well, I don't know. A lot of these I feel like upon launch. So like I'm just thinking about like how it affected people when they came out. And like none of these really had an impact except for Ghost that was like strong and long lasting. Like Final Fantasy VII Remake, a lot of people loved, but were also kind of let down because it's not like the full game, like whatever, all these reasons. Last of Us, the whole story thing, whatever. Animal Crossing is almost laughable to be on here, I hate to say, but like it is a great game, but it's like kind of like having Fortnite on this list.
Yeah, so yeah. I agree with you, but let me play devil's advocate and just say like sales numbers wise.
Yeah. It's a business genius juggernaut.
Yeah, like that game did extremely well and people were loving it.
Sales,
So it's not a game that I would ever pick for Game of the Year. I don't think it's I don't think it should be in here. But that being said, like this is obviously objective, but like everyone has their own feelings about video games, right? So like I don't think it's even fair to compare something like the gaming video game awards to like the Oscars, right? Because like the Oscars, like you're looking at movies that even though they may be in a different genre, like you can tell what movie is directed well. You can tell what movie has good acting in it, what has a good story, So like for those awards, it like to me, I think I said objective earlier, but I think it's more subjective with video games is what I meant
Mm,
to say. Whereas, like movie awards are definitely, I think, a little bit more objective. There's definitely some shenaniganery that goes on during the Oscars, but like for the most part, like every every person could watch, a handful of movies and be like, "Oh, this is obviously the best movie," right?
yeah,
But whereas for video games, like I'm not into Animal Crossing, but for some people that was for sure their favorite game they played this
yeah,
year. So I think this one's tough, but like,
I
you know,
agree.
for me, I think the top 3 that I mentioned earlier, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and Last of Us Part 2 are the top 3 for a
Yeah,
reason, right? Hades, I think, kinda came out of nowhere. It's an indie game. Apparently it's phenomenal, like, has phenomenal gameplay, phenomenal art, really good story, is
here.
super replayable. Um, and like for it to be going up against these big AAA games is kind of rad, to be honest.
Yeah,
I can't think of of an indie game that has gotten this much notoriety like at all.
that's true.
There
Yeah,
certainly is really good indie games out there, but like for it to be going up against like Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us is crazy. That's really cool, I think. And I think it has a chance. I think it's a kind of an outside chance. I think it's the underdog for sure here, but there's a chance. But for me, like just what Ghost of Tsushima delivers, I don't see how any game could beat it. Like it delivers an excellent story, excellent
yeah,
gameplay, probably the most beautiful game I've ever played. Um, Not only did like they deliver that like almost perfect package for a video game, but then they come back like a couple months later and release a free DLC with um like an online like looter slasher co-op game with a freaking raid in it, as well as like new game plus, so they add all this replayability to the game for free just a couple months later out of nowhere. Like that, the value of that game is just
huge.
like through the roof as far as like games that came out this year. So
Yeah. I will say I'm a little sad, and I had the same crybaby thing when Link to the Past got remade last year. That 3D All Stars isn't even close to on this list, and it's literally like 3 of the best games of all time smashed into one thing. But are we just not qualifying it because it's not a new game? But Final Fantasy is also not a new game.
yeah, well, so I guess the difference would be that Final Fantasy at least is a remake.
Mm,
Whereas the
it's a
Mario
remaster.
collection is just those original games slammed in and with a slight remaster on them, but like
Yeah,
they're still in essence the original game, right? I do
yeah.
agree Link's Awakening, that's like a brand new game,
That should have been in the roster.
Um
Yeah,
yeah, last year. I don't know, maybe yeah. If it was up to me, yeah,
yeah.
but I don't know.
But yeah, I don't know. I think this list makes sense to me. It's making me want to play Hades as well because I am seeing it up against all these games that I recognize, and this shit like makes me wonder why it's on here. Yeah, I don't know. I think I think Ghost is going to seal this leg easily. I don't know. I think Last of Us is just going to be a misdirect.
You think so? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't know.
People are like certain that Ghost is a good game, and not everyone's certain that Last of Us is a good game.
Yeah. There's also a lot of people that are upset that Jedi Fallen Order got snubbed.
Oh, well,
Because the thing is like everyone like that was a surprise that came out. Not a surprise. We all knew it was coming out last year, but like no one knew that it was going to be as good as it was, right?
yeah.
Like in fact, a lot of people were assuming that game was going to be ass. The early footage we saw of that game was bad, you know.
Uh,
And then it comes out and blows people out of the water, but it came out late in the year, right? It came out I believe in December, which was too late for the game awards, like too late to be qualified for last year's game awards, right? So everyone assumed, okay, it's going to have its chance this year. Nah.
no.
It got snubberinoed.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I wonder did Age of Calamity make the list for best fighting game by any chance? We don't see that, but
I don't know why it would be considered a fighting game.
what would it be considered? It kind of seems like
Maybe
good.
action? I
Eh,
don't know.
all
I
these other
don't
ones seem
see it
like
on this list though.
I don't think it should be on
Yeah.
it. Fallen Order under best action game though.
Yeah, that's the only place where it got any kind of credit
Damn,
was
Ghost
was
is gonna
there.
pull Lord of the Rings, Return of the King here.
Yeah. Um, Paulino, did you have any thoughts on game of the year in and of itself?
I just think it's gonna be Last of Us 2, just because the
Really?
climate. Yeah, I mean, like again, it's just because I think it's just like Paul said, it's just be like one of those like, everyone's voting for this game, and it's like, it's Last of the Year, or Last of Us 2, actually, yay,
It has the name.
It's one of those like games that just like politically, people are just like, that's the one that should win,
Right.
It broke boundaries and stuff, and it's like,
Did it?
that's such a dumb like metric by which to judge. All those people really did like it. I know some people personally that just like loved that game, and I do not understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like, do you remember the game that won last year? The walking game, the walking simulator. Nobody remembers what it's called, but it was like a huge game. This amazing director did it. I don't know if it won, but it was like one of the few. Oh my God. Someone please remind me, Chamali or someone. But it was basically like a lot of like actual dialogue and talking, and a lot of it was like walking to and from. You know it.
Yeah,
Yeah, Sekiro won last year.
yeah.
It wasn't a winner, but it was in a top.
Yeah.
It was in like a contender.
Walking simulator game. Oh, what was that called? Director.
It was by like a famous director did it.
He did a lot of
You guys are talking about Death Stranding.
Death Stranding.
Stranding, yeah.
Yeah.
Stranding.
Kojima.
Didn't
Yeah.
Wasn't it a
Hideo
contender last
Kojima.
year?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was one of those games that's kind of like this, where like, I don't understand it at all. Like it's like literally a walking simulator, and it's like, who does this kind of game appeal to? That's how I feel about Last of Us, where it's like, oh, it broke bounds, like it's doing something so different. It's like, is that what everyone wanted, or are we just saying yes to it because
We want to just play fun video games? Yeah, I don't know.
we just want to fucking play fun video games. But by my standard, I think they're like crazy person. There should always be like a fucking Mario game in the top, because like these games are fun. Like we need fun in here, and it's like Doom Eternal. Like give me a fucking heart attack. Like I can't even believe that's in the top. Like all of these games are intense except for Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Huh?
I like Doom games.
I know, I do too. But like literally, these are all M-rated games, except for Final Fantasy Remake, which is still violent, and Animal Crossing, which is a child's game. So it's like,
Yeah.
that was arguably thrown in there to again give us a Nintendo vote. But yeah, it's like gaming. This is what they're like. This is fun. Let's blow demons' heads off or chop people in half in one slice. It's like that's what we do now.
Let's real quick go through some of these other categories. Honestly, it's mostly the same games for everything. So if we look best game direction, we've got FF7 Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, which actually I think is cool that that's on there, because that's like the only AAA VR game out there.
That is cool.
I actually think
Last of Us 2.
I think Half-Life should take that. That's like huge that's in there actually.
I mean, I haven't played it, but I think it'd be cool. Like I think the fact that kind of what I said about indie games, like going up against these other big like AAA games, like to see a VR game, these games that are kind of like on the outskirts of like what people normally play, having a chance at this is kind of cool. So
very cool.
Best narrative, we have 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. Never heard of it. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Last of Us. Best art, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and then Last of Us 2. Best score and music, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Last of Us 2. Best audio design, Doom Eternal, which I actually think that one might have a chance there.
I think Doom is going to take score and audio design just based on like how high velocity and intense that is. That track is fucking crazy brutal. It's like really a standout track. Where all these other ones are like fantastical and like we've seen it before.
But yeah, Half-Life Alyx, Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil 3, Last of Us 2. Best action, we've got Doom Eternal, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, Neo 2, which is rad because Neo 1 is awesome. And then Streets of Rage 4, which is also really awesome. That game is super. Well, I don't know that it got the credit it deserved this year. Like that is a really, really fun game. And like to kind of give that beat 'em up genre a shot in the arm is really cool. I'd love to see more of that. Best action adventure, we've got Assassin's Creed Valhalla,
I didn't
Ghost
know
of
that came out.
Tsushima. Huh?
I didn't even know that game actually came out.
It did come out. I hear super mixed things. Like from some people, I hear it's incredibly fun. Like I think Chamali's playing it right now, and he's
Oh,
loving it. From other people, I hear it like starts out really strong and then just fucking falls off fast. So I don't know. I have not played an Assassin's Creed game in a very long time
very
though.
long time, yeah. I
Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ori Will of the Wisps, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which I mentioned earlier, and Last of Us 2. Which
hmm,
how in the fuck is Last of Us 2 considered like an action adventure game? I guess
I don't even yeah.
I don't
It's
know. It's kind of like a movie. It's just like a movie, right?
Mm,
like a movie.
there's action in it. There's a lot of action in it. Have you ever
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I just don't know that I would
Intensity,
necessarily.
reaction.
Oh,
I don't
I
know.
don't
To
know.
put it in the same category as Ghost of Tsushima being considered an action adventure, it's
Oh,
like,
definitely, it's different, but yeah.
Yeah. Or
yeah,
Jedi Fallen Order, or I don't know. It just seems out of place there for me. But
yeah. I think Doom is going to have a surprising amount of sweeps on in a lot of these actually, because a lot of these do kind of like fit its mold. Like, like best action. It's like I don't see any of those beating Doom because it is the best action. And like a few of these other
right.
ones, it just stands out like with music and stuff. I'm like, kind of just stands out from those other options. So that could be a clear winner in a lot of these categories, but maybe I would be happy to see a lot of indies take this. Like,
Yeah.
be
I'm
really cool.
pulling for Neo too, only because I really want samurai games to just like
Yeah.
Take
be
off.
take.
That'd be cool.
I
If this
do
was
like, dude. How
yeah.
rad would it be if 2 years in a row we had a samurai game that won Game of the Year? Right? We had Sekiro last year, and then we have Ghost of Tsushima this year. Like, how rad would that be? Like, maybe people will consider making more games like that. Maybe the Way of the Samurai series will get a comeback. That's my pipe dream. Don't take it away from me.
I think
I
Ghost,
really,
yeah. Ghost is going to take Game of the Year. I don't know. Wanting Last of Us seems like a stretch. I don't
Mhm.
know. There's too much power behind Ghost, I think.
Yeah, we'll
They
see.
said it, well, actually, aren't both exclusives?
Hmm.
Or are both,
They
or
are both PlayStation
they're both
exclusives.
PlayStation exclusives? That might actually be a knock against them. Like
I
both of
don't
them.
agree.
No.
I think it's a. Here's the thing. I know a lot of people have disagreements about like console exclusivity and all this kind of stuff. Um and there's certainly pros and cons, but like I feel like it definitely says something that PlayStation's able to put out games of this caliber, and other and when I mean other, I mean Xbox, because I think even though I think Nintendo puts out a different style but same caliber, right? of
Yeah,
of games. Xbox isn't doing this, right?
they're not. Yeah.
So like, it doesn't surprise me at all that PlayStation games are getting these nods for Game of
Sure.
the Year. Um,
Did Breath win when it came out? I think it did.
I think it did.
I think
Yeah.
it won Game of the Year. Yeah.
Yeah. What year was that?
I think it's
2017?
I think every time a real Zelda game comes out, it wins Game of the Year. I'm not just saying that because I think Skyward Sword won Game of the Year too, but I might be wrong about that. But I know
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask did win Game of the Year.
2017 was
2017 Breath.
yeah, was Breath of the
Bravo.
Wild.
That makes me happy. 2017? Oh man.
Yeah.
Time does not pass, but then it does.
Right?
Past, present, future.
Yeah. Feels like that game came out a long, long time
Yeah.
ago. Not long enough.
Anyhow, do you guys have any other thoughts about Game of the Year? We'll be watching that. We'll all obviously like follow up on next week on our thoughts on this. And
I would have loved nothing more than for Origami King to have been good enough to be in the top running, but no. It's
it was
just
still
best.
good though.
It's good, yeah,
It's
but
better than you expected.
if that shit was 1,000 Year 2, though, it probably would be in the top.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, he says, yeah. No, I think it's a solid selection. Yes, it'd be exciting to do our own votes as well for our games of the year. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, guys, that about wraps it up, I think. You can, if you're watching this right now live, you're on my Twitch channel. You can also follow me on Twitter at Ryugami Sama. I just post dumb shit on there and
Nice.
like things. And then we have our YouTube that's in the chat right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, please share that with your friends. If you guys enjoy this show, share it with your friends. Tell people about us. Trying to get the word out.
The word out.
Yeah. But yeah, that's where you can find me, Josh. Where you at, man?
Lord Yeshua and Lord Yeshua TTV on all his bullshit, and maybe catch me not doing shit. Probably. I don't know. Streaming is so hard right now, but you know, me and Colin swear we're gonna do something soon.
Yeah.
We're really swearing on it. Diddy Kong Racing.
Who's streaming right now that we could raid?
Probably Mandari.
It is. It is Mandari. That's
it's always Mandari.
Colin, did you have anything you wanted to pimp out right now? No. I'm always gonna give you the opportunity.
Well,
like I know you're doing non-video game related stuff. If you want to pimp that, you can pimp that too.
I'm making a VR headset. No,
I definitely want that camera for Christmas,
dude. Right? Because then we can like hang out together.
Yes.
Dude, that's a thought I always had. Like when like the Oculus Rift first came out and stuff. Like my first thought was like, how cool would it be if I could just get a group of friends together, hop in VR, we're at different points of the country, we all meet up in a movie theater and go sit down in our seats and hang out and watch this movie together.
Yeah, they have that.
I know. I'm just saying, like
that's cool though. That's a nice.
That's an experience I would like to do.
I bought a headset for my actually, so like you basically do it like that, you know. So not quite the same degree of freedom as like a VR headset, but you know, you can like look around and see your friends and like have like surround sound, you know, kind of thing, or like binaural audio, I guess. So that way you
literally seeing like a hologram of each other in a room, or like
that actually Microsoft did that a few years back. It basically has like these 3D cameras that like track you, and like projects it into your vision in your VR headset. So like it also has pass-through as well.
Dude, we're almost in Star Wars.
It's almost an actual Star Wars general. I have
pretty cool.
All right, let's raid. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we'll see you next time. Have an awesome night. Go hang out with Mandari. Goodbye.
Goodbye.